In our last episode, we recovered a new robot body for Polly. And when we got back to the Wayward, we discovered that Duchess was keeping Crane, who was actually a Scorched, locked up behind a door on the top floor. Crane kept saying, "Boy is key." And on his inventory, we found a map to Golly Mine and the RobCo experimental cache keycard. We either killed Crane or let him go, and then Duchess told us that we could keep whatever we found behind the door inside Golly Mine, as long as we came back to spend caps on drinks once in a while. At last, we can find out what this treasure is all about. And to do so, we need to head back to Golly Mine. And once inside, we know exactly where to go. Navigating to the second large room, we can go to the caged off area and punch in the passcode, the one we found on the bulletin board or on Crane's map, 071990. Once inside, we can navigate through the break in the concrete wall and use the RobCo experimental cache keycard on the ID card reader. The door opens, allowing us to enter the RobCo auto cache number 1. What on earth is this? RobCo experimental cache? What is RobCo doing in West Virginia? On the other side of the door, we arrive in a large office space. To the left, we find a locked door. RobCo staff only. Your presence has been logged by RobCo security. We see that the door is barred from the other side, so we can't go that way. So, turning around, we can move east. We see a hallway going off to the north and a caged-off area to the east. Moving towards the caged-off area, we see that this was a bit of a storage area. Lots of shelves covered in scrap. Nothing much of interest. Though we do find a few ants back here. Looks like this RobCo experimental cache has suffered an ant infestation. At the back of this caged-off area, we see that the concrete wall to the north has crumbled away. Creeping through the hole, we find some minecar tracks. And is that a nest? Mole rats. This must be one of the portions of Golly Mine that the miners collapsed with explosives. All we find back here are toxic irradiated barrels. And at last we begin to understand the messages we read in Golly Mine. They were abandoning the mine because RobCo was taking it over for their experimental cache. Heading through another break in the wall, we arrive in a floating pod overlooking a larger room. On the wall above some desks, we find a sign. 3 easy steps to access the RobCo auto cache. Step 1. Register your Pip-Boy at the nearest system registration terminal. Step 2. Stand inside the auto cache scanner detection radius. And step 3. Raise your registered Pip-Boy towards the auto cache scanner. Register your Pip-Boy, and it's then we remember. Boy is key. Crane's final words. Boy is key. Pip-Boy is key. On the desk beneath this sign, we find a note. A repository as smart as you. Test flyer number 11, version 1. The insert final name. Any dolt can buy a vault. You want a repository as smart as you. RobCo's patented technology grants you access to your personal insert final name at a whim. Let your RobCo Pip-Boy 2000 be your key. Access anytime. Order yours today. Coming, insert date. Wait a minute. Does that mean RobCo, the makers of the Pip-Boy, was trying to come out with their own vault to compete with Vault Tech? So they were creating all of the Pip-Boys for Vault Tech, but that must not have been enough. No, they wanted all of that vault money. So they were making their own experimental vaults? How far into this project did RobCo go? Beneath one of the desks, we find a box of Mentats. Someone was staying up late running the numbers. Turning around, we can push a big red button against the eastern wall. This opens some double doors. We'll head through there in a minute Next, we can loot the cash control room key lying on a desk by the double doors. And then turning right, we have to hack a 0 skill level locked system registration terminal. After hacking, RobCo experimental auto cache. Welcome text. Test line. George, house is shutting down the auto cache project. Please wipe this before they seal the place. I hope you're happy. K. Oh, so house abandoned the project. Guess it must not have been a viable one? We find a number of entries here. Before we register our Pip-Boy device, we can access the tour guide walkthrough. George, they're moving up the first tour. I know you said it'd take 6 months. We've got 2 weeks. Here are my notes for the tour. I left more in the cache for priority fixes. Clean them all up before the guests arrive. Get it done. K. 10 steps to sales. Number 1. Prior to customer arrival, register your Pip-Boy with this terminal using selection on the previous screen. Note, do this first. It's the only way to shut off the security. Legal will skin us alive if we turn in more injury forms, and then that's more injury forms. K. Number 2. Approach the customer with a friendly but firm handshake. 3. Lead the customer to the entrance and run through the included RobCo Auto Cache introduction script. 4. Position yourself inside the scan ring in front of the cache entrance. 5. Present registered Pip-Boy towards the patented RobCo Easy Access Eye. Note, just have them stand still inside the ring. It's not rocket science. K. Number 6. Proceed inside the cache. 7. Run through the included Auto Cache Tour script. 8. Proceed to RobCo Mega Dispenser. 9. Give customer a dispenser token and request they deposit it in the slot of their choice. Note, we've only got 1 token. Left it on the podium in the showroom. Do not lose it. K. And number 10, escort the customer out with their very own keepsake while reciting the RobCo Cache customizability script. Note, house will take any reason to shutter us, wants the resources for something personal. This tour needs to sparkle. George left some sparkle under the desk. Don't mess this up. K. We see that there were a number of other scripts. Supply cache intro script, supply cache tour script, supply cache customized script, but these were all removed, possibly deleted by George. The sparkle under the desk were the mentats that we looted a moment ago. So George was never a big fan of this RobCo Auto Cache project, but it seems to have been the pet project for this K. House probably never liked it. Sounds like one of House's underlings was taking initiative to try to make a new profitable business for RobCo, to make a name for himself within the company. House, as we know, predicted the nuclear apocalypse and likely shuttered this auto cache project to divert resources to Nevada so that he could complete his Securitron bunker beneath Fortification Hill. That may be what Kay was alluding to in this terminal. Before we back out, we can register our Pip-Boy device.
Pip-Boy detected. Registration complete. Countermeasures disabled. You may now present Pip-Boy at access point.
Looks like the RobCo pre-war security has been disabled. Now we can head through the big double doors that we just opened, which brings us back to that hallway on the other side of that gated off section. If we turn right, we find a door that leads us downstairs to arrive at a large vault entrance. This vault looks nothing like a Vault-Tec vault. The door looks more like a bank vault than anything. We can clear a few ants. We see some tables laid out with drinks, likely what George and Kay tried to use to butter up potential buyers. It's doubtful they sold any units, but why? When ready, we can stand in the ring.
Valid Pip-Boy detected. Access granted. Welcome, prospective RobCo customer.
The system detects our registered Pip-Boy, and the vault door opens. Let's see what a RobCo vault looks like. Stepping in. Okay. Lots of shelving with associated signs. Refreshments on demand. Cream, vodka, juice, beer, wine. Find a couple of containers down here. A few wads of cash. Lots of barrels and boxes, a suitcase and a duffel bag. Not very high tech, but this path is a dead end, so moving on to the main hallway, we find more items stored to the right. Waste handling in neon and blinking lights. And a RobCo vault's waste handling is just big barrels filled with God knows what. Continuing forward, we find even more containers. RobCo at your service! And a big destroyed robot. At the bottom of this sign is a note. I missed it when I came through here, and after completing the quest, we can't go back, so I wasn't able to capture footage of it. But I'll read the transcript. Imagine your memories here. Test flyer number 1, version 4, the insert final name. Imagine all of your most precious memories here, accessible anytime you'd like, without the need for unscrupulous human guards. Order yours today. Coming, insert date. So these auto caches weren't vaults for people, they were vaults for belongings, caches of goods. But exactly how long did RobCo expect these goods to last underground? They're just laid out on shelves. We don't see any humidity control, temperature control, though security was pretty good. That was a thick vault door. We see a door to the right, and then a pathway to the left. Economic security, with a big arrow pointing at a pile of pre-war money. Well, that was a failed prediction. We begin to realize why RobCo never had any buyers for this experimental cache and why House had to shutter the program. It was so amateur. Buckets for waste management, barrels filled with milk and vodka. Not very high tech. Moving west, we can open a couple of doors and fight an ant to arrive in what appears to be the primary vault chamber. This must be where George and Kay gave sales pitches to their prospective clients. And what was it Kay said on the note? They left a token behind the pedestal. As part of the sales pitch, a prospective client would be given a token that they could use to receive a keepsake after going through the sales pitch. Heading to the podium, sure enough, we find a Mega Dispenser test token lying on top of it. And next to this, we find a number of RobCo coin-operated dispensers. These are the auto caches. And this must be the treasure. We only have one token, but a number of auto caches. One for energy weapons, one for a shotgun, one for a rifle, a pistol, an unarmed weapon, a two-handed melee weapon, and a one-handed melee weapon. So the souvenir, or keepsake, that they gave to prospective buyers was a weapon? Well, I guess that makes sense for pre-war America. Using a token, we can activate the cache of our choice. On one playthrough, I chose a shotgun. And we get a 2-star legendary weapon. I got a suppressor's pump action shotgun. It reduced my target's damage output by 20% for 3 seconds, and it had a 25% faster fire rate. Disappointing for my power armor wielding character. But on my younger gunslinger character, I got something pretty useful. For her, I chose a pistol, and she got a 2-shot 44 caliber pistol. It shoots an additional projectile and increases bashing damage by 40%. This 2-star legendary was disappointing for my power armor character, as he's already gotten a lot of 2-star legendaries. But this was the first legendary weapon I got from my younger character. So the auto cache is a great opportunity to get a guaranteed legendary drop for younger characters. Now, the design and function of the auto caches gives us the impression that the legendary weapon is automatically generated when we use the token, but that's actually not true. These are pre-programmed rewards. We can only ever get the same weapon reward from each auto cache. The reward for an energy weapon is a Furious laser pistol, which also grants a bonus of 10% to damage while aiming. The rifle is an anti-armor hunting rifle, which also increases the damage of VATS critical shots by 50%. The unarmed dispenser delivers a vampire knuckles, which grants a damage bonus of 40% to power attacks. The two-handed melee is a bloodied sledgehammer, which also increases swing speed by 40%. And the one-handed melee is an executioner's sickle, which reflects 50% of the melee damage back to the enemy while blocking. And that's about it. So much for the great treasure of Appalachia. Is this what the free radicals have been harassing the Wayward over? Is this what people have been coming back to Appalachia from all over the wasteland for? On our way out, we can see what else RobCo had in store for prospective buyers. Reliable HVAC! And it's pointing to pipes at the top. Lying on the shelf next to the sign is another note that I missed, so I'll read the transcript. RobCo stock shares 1,000. Test flyer number 7, version 3. The insert final name. This page could be company stock. $1 million. The crown jewels. Whatever matters to you matters to us. All insert final names come pre-equipped with the patented Easy Access Eye, capable of recognizing any registered Pip-Boy device and able to unlock access to your valuables in a jiffy. Order yours today. Coming, insert date. Fresh food we see upon turning a corner, and it's pointing at sugar bombs and Salisbury steak. We find a note pinned to this one. Add food here. Test flyer 21B. George, we're working with preserved stuffs here, so it needs to be stacked meticulously. Think window display at Greg and Gould's. Food's cheap. Get as much as we can afford and build from there. Kay was trying so hard to get one of these caches stocked up, but his little pet project just wasn't interesting to pre-war America. Continuing down the catwalks and turning right, we find another note lying on one of these shelves. Treasury bonds, 100. Test flyer number 18, the insert final name. Like your investments safe? Then secure your future with an insert final name system. Built to order, each insert final name is the perfect balance of security, convenience, and frugality. Access any time of day or night without meddlesome and high-maintenance human guards. Order yours today. Coming, insert date. And what is their safe investment? Just a box on a shelf. Lovely. Here we find a sign, data storage, and what is it? Just a bunch of filing cabinets. Near to this, we find a bunch of wooden crates. Near to one, we find a note. Add crates here. Test flyer 21B, George, fill this area with the fanciest crates we can afford. Something that looks like a Hornwright would store their jewels in it. Should scream, I have enough money. I need to hide it from my employees. Ooh, someone was salty over the Hornwrights. Kay must have been a local boy. And at the end of this catwalk, we find a personal security section, which is just a 10mm pistol and a .44 caliber pistol. Lying near to these is a note, add weapons here. Test flyer 21B, George, weapons section. Nothing too fancy here. Protester scarers. Well, Kay wanted his prospective buyers to know that if they buy an experimental RobCo cash vault, that they'll be armed for the future. Sad it didn't work out for him, poor guy. When done, we can open the door to the east to arrive in an office area, likely Kay and George's offices. On one of the desks, we find a note. Order yours today. Test flyer number 19, version 4, the insert final name. Like what you see? Then order your fully customizable insert final name today. All sales inquiries can be placed with sales specialist, insert sales POS. Piece of what? Point of sale? Financing is available. Make the future yours with RobCo. Coming, insert date. When done exploring the office, we can push a big red button against the eastern wall to open a door leading to a small storage room where we can unlatch the barred door we found upon entry. In this storage room, we find a couple of containers with chems and medication, and on my second playthrough, I actually found a magazine lying on one of the shelves. With that, we're right back to the entrance, and when done, we can leave Gully Mine. Now, Duchess told us that we could keep whatever we found in Gully Mine, but to fulfill our promise, we can head back to the Wayward to buy a drink from her. And when we do, we find an encounter that goes differently depending on the choices we made during this quest. If we removed the free radicals as a threat to the Wayward by either killing them or intimidating them, when we arrive, we find everything much the way we left it, and we can speak to Duchess.
The intrepid explorer returns. Extra layer of dust makes me think you might have actually succeeded. Time to spill. What'd you find?
It opened a gate to another time. What year is this?
Fine. Don't tell me then. I'll just presume you got a big payday. Wish there was more I could contribute to it, honestly. What I will do is foot you a discount. You'll never pay full price here while I'm still above the ground. Really, it's about the least I could do at this point. Honestly, thank you. We're on our feet now because of you. You take care of yourself out there, honey. One wayward soul to another.
With that, we complete the quest, the elusive crane. We get a plan for the bow and a bunch of other cool stuff. However, if, when we met the free radicals, we promised them the treasure when we enter the Wayward, we find the free radical raiders holding up the people of the Wayward by gunpoint. Mort is on his knees, and Duchess is being held upstairs. We find Roper standing by Mort. Once we step forward, Roper addresses us.
Well, well. We've been having a little discussion with your friends here. Word around the water cooler is you found Crane's treasure. Good for you. Time to cover your end of the deal. Pay up.
Here we find a number of options, and sadly I wasn't able to explore them all. I chose to play it safe and said, "Of course, boss." The place was pretty empty, but there was a weapon.
A weapon. Singular. Let me see it.
We can try to downplay the weapon, or we can show Roper the weapon.
That's it? Fine. You give me that, I suppose we can call it even. Unless you can make me a better offer.
I didn't want to lose my 2-shot 44 caliber revolver. So of all of the available options, I chose to pass a charisma check of 4 or greater to say, you want your crew to be taken seriously, right? That starts with looking the part. You can't be seen with a weapon this unimpressive.
I see what you mean. Suppose it suits someone like you then, doesn't it? Fine. Keep it. Looking out for our reputation. Kind of people we need. Welcome to the Free Radicals. Here.
I suppose that could have gone a lot worse. Honey, why don't you and I have a little chat while I try and stop my hands from shaking.
With that, Roper allows us to keep the weapon, and he gives us the Radical's face mask, a legendary mask that grants us plus 10 damage and energy resistance, but only if we're mutated. Then he and the Free Radicals walk out of the Wayward, leaving Duchess in peace. Taking a look at the mask in our inventory, it looks great. Almost looks like something the Disciples would create. It looks pretty great on my character, but I wanted this character to wear a cowboy hat, so I'll just add it to my collection. When ready, we can check in with Duchess to see how she feels after such an altercation.
I guess that went about as well as it could have. Though I do wish maybe you hadn't struck a deal with them in the first place. At least they're out of our hair. For the time being.
I believe the words you're looking for are, "Thanks so much, sweets," which was the name of my character here.
Oh, my mistake. You took the words right out of my mouth. But don't think I don't grasp what we all owe you. It's more that, well, I value that man's word about as much as a Brahmin fart. Having Saul and Polly back on their feet, though, should level the playing field in case he gets any ideas. Solomon, you think you and Bessie can go grab Polly's new ride sooner rather than later?
I can make it happen, Duchess.
Attaboy. Well, honey, I'm real sorry Crane's leads didn't pan out quite like we'd hoped. And while I can't magic up a better treasure for you, what I will do is foot you a discount. You'll never pay full price here while I'm still above the ground. Really, it's about the least I could do at this point. Oh, and I nearly forgot. Once we got the power back on, we started picking up this broadcast. Some woman claiming to be an overseer of one Vault 76. I thought it might pique your interest. I can't tell you if she is who she claims she is, but I figured if anyone could sort it out, well, it was going to be you. Honestly, thank you. We're on our feet now because of you. You take care of yourself out there, honey. One wayward soul to another.
And all's well that ends well. We complete the quest, The Elusive Crane, and we again get the plan for the bow. It's at this point that if we're playing a brand new character, we begin the quest, The New Arrivals. The Overseer needs your help. We now need to track down the Overseer. We pick her up on a brand new radio frequency, the Overseer's broadcast.
Broadcasting to the people of Vault 76. This is the Overseer. We need to talk, face to face. I've missed all of you, but this isn't just about a reunion. We have work to do. I'll be waiting in Sutton.
At last, we get to find the Overseer. She's been missing for so long. And the last holotape we found from her gives the impression that she had been wounded. At this point, I was just grateful to learn that she was still alive. But before we head on over to the Overseer, we can finish up things here at the Wayward.
Get you something, doll?
You were willing to give me the key card to the cache. Are you not here to strike it rich like everyone else?
No, doll. Appalachia's home to me. Always has been. There was no way I was staying away for long. I presumed I'd only be gone a couple of months. But I kept hearing stories about plagues and monsters and whatnot. When I heard everyone was finally coming back because of some treasure, I figured the monsters and all must have been made up to scare people off. Seems I just vastly underestimated the general populace's level of desperation. So I came back to sell them all drinks and to finally be home again.
I'm curious, what did you do before the war?
Me? Businesswoman. Carved a nice place out for myself in pharmaceuticals. I made some friends along the way, and lots of enemies. But I was also able to put away enough scratch and supplies that when the end came, well, I was in better shape than most. Traded nearly all of it in order to build this place, though. Now, the Wayward's my legacy. And it'd be nowhere without you.
If we previously found Duchess's stash and her holotapes in Welch, we find an option to say there was a woman down in Welch who went by the name Duchess. Any relation?
Oh yeah, I've heard of her. Rumor was that she was a smart, savvy, effortlessly beautiful drug kingpin. But I don't think you want to find her, honey. Left a trail of broken families wherever she went. Lucky for us all, that gal disappeared when the bombs dropped. World already had all the monsters it could stomach.
So, what's the deal with Bessie?
Great, isn't she? I got her for a steal because the military took all her guns when they retired her. She's the pack-ox forklift hybrid I never knew I wanted. I never would have been able to haul all this stuff up here without her, let alone build this place up. Was Saul's idea to paint her. Upgrade her voice module to something more fitting her role.
Any leads on other treasure?
Nothing other than the rumor of the big one everyone keeps babbling about being tucked away somewhere nearby. I've heard it's a city that drops riches from the sky, and that it's a drill that crawls around underground. And at this point, I would not be the least bit surprised to find out it's somehow both.
That's right. When we met the settlers outside Vault 76, what was it that they said?
Yeah, there was this big broadcast, but shouldn't you know it was in there?
They heard about a treasure on a radio broadcast, but Crane didn't have a radio broadcast. Duchess never talked about treasure on her radio broadcast. What radio broadcast were they talking about? Could there be another treasure out there besides the one we found in the RobCo experimental cache? What did Duchess mean by the big one? Next, we can move on to Saul.
Hey there, stranger. Look, I can't say this with enough emphasis. You handled that thing with Roper real well. That had bloodbath written all over it. Seriously, all the gratitude I've got doesn't amount to what you deserve. So, there's something I can do for you?
How you doing, Saul?
A lot better now I'm out of that pit. But Duchess spotted me a couple stems, so I'm not too worried. I've had worse. Bounced back just fine. Just takes time, which is the one thing I've got plenty of.
What's the deal with you and Polly? You two seem pretty close.
We look out for each other. Not sure how long you've been out of the vault, but if you want to make it out here, you need someone watching your back. Preferably multiple someones. And Polly's been that person for me for a while now. Yeah, see, Duchess and Polly, they didn't work great together. Duchess treated her like a protectron, a servant to be bossed around. But she's a lot more than that. I don't know if all Assaultrons are like her, or it was something to do with her reprogramming. But she's like a real lady. Yeah, and once I got Duchess to see that, well, it was smooth sailing. Or as smooth as this group gets.
Willing to tell me what happened in Gully Mine?
Well, not much to tell. Scorched just overwhelmed us. It's weird. They seem rock dumb. But sometimes it just seems like they know things that they shouldn't. Like they're talking to each other somehow, just without words. We were holding our own just fine till I got shot. It's a whole lot harder to aim when you can only balance on one leg. Once I went down, Polly went ballistic. Could say she lost her head over it.
Nice, I'll be going then.
Talk to you later.
And then we can check in with Mort.
Not sure if I mentioned this, but I do appreciate you not getting us all murdered back there. Shot on my knees? I am going out with more flair than that. So, thanks. Now, what do you want?
But he doesn't have anything else to say. On our way out, we can say bye to Polly.
Just you wait. Next time you see me, I'm going to have limbs. Saul needs to hobble his tail across town quick and get me my new digs.
That's right. She still hasn't gotten her robot body. When we next arrive at the Wayward, we find Polly with the brand new robot body that we chose for her. And if we chose the Mr. Handy body...
What's wrong, cowgirl? No comments on my appearance? What the hell happened to my body?
Comments on your appearance, huh? I think your extra arms look, nice.
Are you kidding?
I'm so sorry, Polly. It's the only one I could get.
Sorry?
Watch it, lady. If it weren't for me, you'd still be living in a liquor bottle like an alcoholic genie.
No. You don't get to be the angry one here. Look at me. My brutal curves. My sleek but battle-ready frame. Vanished. Instead, I'm trapped in this thing. I've got more limbs than combat processors. There's a rocket coming out of my keister. And I didn't even get the charming accent. Explain why I'm going to be spending the rest of my days in this monstrosity, or I'll pinch you like a zit.
Sadly, I could only capture one of these options, so we can say, I personally think it's an improvement. You're much more approachable now.
You? I hadn't really thought about it that way. Maybe not hugely ideal in this line of work, but ideal isn't often in the cards these days. Suppose I should be grateful I got anything, really. Sorry for chewing you out. This is just taking some getting used to. But you can go on in.
You're different from the other robots I've met.
I presume you're not referring to the fact that I was a walking meat grinder dropped into the body of a department store blue light special? But yes, I'm unique. Duchess purchased me years ago and had me reprogrammed. Dialed back my tactical protocols, added in a personality. The result was something along the lines of Frankenstein's bouncer. Now, with this body, well, unique is the perfect word. There's no other robot like me. Duchess claimed the programmer based me on one of his old girlfriends, a boxer. But Saul seems convinced my template was the boss lady herself. Wouldn't be shocked by either, or both.
You willing to talk about what happened in Gully Mine?
Thought it seemed pretty obvious. I lost the person watching my back. Then the Scorched came at me from behind. Don't have to be Napoleon to figure that one out.
You and Saul are pretty close, huh?
Yes, you could say that. Saul's been on my corner since we picked him up. Don't think he'd ever seen an Assaultron before me. So when he joined up, I fielded about 3 days worth of questions. But the man's good with electronics and good with a gun. Plus, he finds me charming for some unknown reason. Couldn't really ask for more in a friend.
I should go.
Throw one back for me.
But if we chose the Assaultron body for Polly, this conversation goes much differently. We see that she's once again a wholly intact Assaultron, and she is pleased.
You did real good, brother. This body is nothing short of art. All the little malfunctions and mishaps I've been putting up with for years, gone. I'm like a newborn babe. If babies could turn a human into a cadaver in under 8 seconds. Here, I made you this from some parts I didn't need anymore. As thanks. Now go get comfy.
She gives us Polly's old head. This old head is a helmet, which doesn't grant us any bonuses, but it looks pretty doggone cool. It covers the head and eyes, and it looks like an Assaultron head. Though distinctly it does have graffiti on the back. Polly, built to kill. Heart. If we go back to visit the Free Radicals after having intimidated Roper to leave the Wayward alone, we find Roper gone, and the raiders who remain are impressed at our ability to drive off Roper.
Sounds like you spooked the boss good. Wonder if anyone else is hiring.
What? You want to rub it in our faces too?
Don't know what you said to the boss, but I guess we're leaving you alone. The hell did you say to Roper? Wish I could have been in there when you did.
However, if we ended the Wayward quest by joining the Free Radicals, we get a mixed reception upon return. The Free Radicals both don't like that we're there and are impressed at what we've achieved.
Don't do anything stupid, okay? You're bothering me.
Yeah, I heard how you helped the boss with his, reputation faux pas. What, were you in advertising or something? You really find that cash all on your own? Damn.
Roper himself fully embraces us and gives us a bit of backstory about how the Free Radicals were formed as a raider faction.
Appreciate you looking out for my rep. Radicals aren't going anywhere looking unimpressive. Welcome to the family. Don't have much, but we look after each other. Don't pick fights, don't steal someone else's shit, don't hold out on the group. Only rules we got. All these troublemakers are the last survivors of Western Maryland Correctional Facility. Not me, though. I was head guard. Ain't the end time something?
We don't get any further quests with them. There's no reputation system with them. We can just sort of visit them freely and roleplay that we're a member. And with that, we wrap up things with a nice blue ribbon here at the Wayward, and it's time to move on to other adventures. Wastelanders adds a lot to Appalachia. More quests, new characters. We'll continue with this series by exploring some of the new characters and events here in Appalachia before moving on to the bigger, brand new quest and meeting up with the Overseer to see what she's been doing with her time for the last year. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on this channel, so if you don't want to miss those episodes, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. They come on other products as well too, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon are becoming increasingly important as YouTube continues to make platform changes that make the future of YouTube monetization uncertain. So to all my YouTube members and my patrons on Patreon, you have my sincerest thanks. I couldn't make these videos without your help, but more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.